We read through the whole 2024 Player's Handbook, so you don't have to.
Get ready to learn the top 5 invocations for Warlock. What's going on, YouTube? I'm the Mind Flayer Slayer.
And I am Dr. DM, and as part of our coverage for the entire 2024 Player's Handbook, today we're bringing you a first of our top 5 list. This is the top 5 invocations for Warlock, so you can power up your Warlock in 2024.
Starting right off with Agonizing Blast, there is a prerequisite of having a level 2+ Warlock and a Warlock cantrip that deals damage. You can choose one of your known Warlock cantrips that deals damage. You can add your spellcasting ability modifier to that spell's damage rolls. Whenever you gain a Warlock level, you can change which of your damaging Warlock cantrip benefits from this invocation. Repeatably. You can gain the invocation more than once. Each time you can do so choosing a different eligible cantrip. So this is a big change. The ability to not just use this on Eldritch Blast, even though I feel like the majority of the time people are still going to be putting this on Eldritch Blast, but so that different damage types are buffed in certain situations. This could be really powerful. And also being able to take it multiple times so that you're continuing to scale it up. I really like this.
And it's a lot of flavor for your Warlock, so you're not just pigeonholed into one particular cantrip.
Correct.
There are stronger cantrips, damage dice-wise, for example, Toll of Dead, this is D12, or if you're in certain areas of the Forgotten Realms or whatever campaign you play in, enemies have resistances to other elements or have vulnerability to certain elements, for example, fire, like you can take Firebolt, whatever it is. So this gives you a lot of versatility. Of course, Eldritch Blast is still the best because you get the multiple beams, so Agonizing Blast gives you extra bonus damage for every single one, but still, it's cool that it's here and as strong as it ever was before.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about a pair of invocations that kind of come together, but before we get there, we're going to talk about Pact of the Blade, which is now unique. It's an invocation. It's not like a class option anymore, and let's hear about it.
So Pact of the Blade, as a bonus action, you can conjure a Pact weapon in your hand, a simple or martial melee weapon of your choice with which you bond. Or create a bond with a magic weapon you touch. You can't bond with a magic weapon if someone else is attuned to it or another Warlock is bonded with it. Until the bond ends, you have proficiency with the weapon and you can use it as your spellcasting focus.
And whenever you make an attack with your bonded weapon, you can use your charisma modifier for the attack and damage rolls instead of strength or dex. So this lets you go in to the charisma single attribute really hard and still be an awesome Gish damage dealer. And you can cause weapon to deal necrotic, psychic, or radiant damage, or its normal type, so that's a big boon.
Huge boon.
Okay, now while this is a very impactful invocation on its own, we're going to go into something which this is a prerequisite for, and that's Thirsting Blade.
Correct.
Which requires a level 5+ Warlock with the Pact of Blade invocation, and with this you get, this is returns, you get the extra attack feature for your Pact weapon only, you attack twice that turn.
Thank you.
This comes back, but now let's talk about what makes this even stronger.
The strongest is the Devouring Blade, which is a prerequisite of level 12+ Warlock, and the Thirsting Blade invocation. The extra attack of your Thirsting Blade invocation confers 2 extra attacks rather than 1. So here's what we've done, essentially. We have taken what was normally a class feature, and really an entire subclass in the form of the Hexblade, and we have smashed it all together to make it so much easier to explain and understand and play, and it is now in the form of these 3 invocations. You take these 3 invocations and you are stacking and creating a perfect Gish Warlock that can do absolutely busted Nova damage throughout your entire campaign. Eldritch Smite is back with a prerequisite of level 5+ Warlock and the Pact of the Blade invocation. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with your Pact weapon, you can expend a Pact magic spell slot to deal an extra 1d8 force damage to the target, plus another 1d8 per level of the spell slot. And you can give the target the prone condition if it is huge or smaller. Again, you can give the target the prone condition.
You have huge.
There is no saving throw.
Incredible, and that's happened a lot to us. I'm like, wait a minute, you gave this huge dragon prone condition? Like, just, and think about it, now Warlock has so many more attacks. So first attack, you do like a huge Nova Burst and do the extra whatever up to 5d8 damage.
Correct.
It goes down, the rest of your attacks that turn are an advantage. And then the rest of your teammates' attacks, who are also melee, add advantage. Built in, no save, incredible. Still a top tier invocation, and it gets better because now with multiple attacks, if you want to dump all your Eldritch Smites every turn, right? Later on, you get 3 or 4 spell slots. You can just boom Eldritch Smite, Eldritch Smite, Eldritch Smite. Unlike Paladin, who can't do that anymore. This does not take a bonus action, by the way.
Exactly.
And Paladin does. So, all right. And finally, we're moving on now to Eldritch Mind. Why don't you let them know what that does?
You have advantage on Constitution saving throws that you take to maintain concentration on a spell. This is a complete copy-paste from Tasha's, I believe, was the updated, but Eldritch Mind is a must-have. You have such limited spell slots. They're almost always being concentration focused.
Unless you Eldritch Smite.
Correct. You really need to have the ability to have advantage on con saves.
And now that at level 1, you get invocations at level 1, you can even dip into this and get Eldritch Mind for one of your other casters, giving you concentration on all your spells.
So I know we cheated and kind of pushed 3 together, but they all really work well. Finally, we have Pact of the Chain.
And we're sort of doing that with this as well. Pact of the Chain has its own kind of level up as well.
Correct.
So with Pact of the Chain, this is our last invocation. You learn the Find Familiar spell. You can cast it as an action without expending a spell slot. When you cast a spell, you choose one of the normal forms for your familiar, or one of the special forms, which is Imp. Some of these are new. So get ready. Pseudo-Dragon, Quasit, Skeleton, Slad Tadpole, Sphinx of Wonder, Sprite, or a Venomous Snake. So when you take your attack action, you can forgo one of your own attacks to allow your familiar to make one attack of its own with its reaction.
Yep.
Okay, so here we go. You're not even using a bonus action like Beastmaster Ranger. It's just one of your attacks, so you can still do your own bonus action too.
You're darn right.
And you get 3 attacks. This isn't even that much of a letdown for action economy, right?
Yeah, the fact that this is all invocations is wild.
Because you can do Pact of the Blade and Pact of the Chain both.
Yes, and you also get more invocations with this new Warlock.
That's right.
Just in general. So like you might be like, oh, this is kind of a lot to take. And yes, there are some losses from the Hexblade of not having the medium armor proficiencies and the shield spell, but like, come on, guys. It's all built in right there.
Yeah, and this in particular, this invocation, lets you take the Sphinx of Wonder. This is a new one.
Yeah.
This Sphinx of Wonder is so strong. Its
So
basic
good.
attack, I think something like 1d6 plus 3, and then plus 2d6 radiant damage just with its attack. So you're looking
That's
at almost
wild.
like it can do up to maybe 20 damage or whatever. You can also use their passive abilities. For example, Sphinx of the Wonder has a passive guidance, which you can give
Yes,
to
it
you and your
does.
players. And so it's wonderful. So extra attack, which is probably stronger than your own attack sometimes, and all their passive abilities. And it's Find Familiar, so you can see through them and scout.
Warlock is the best.
Amazing. Now, Pact of the Chain was our 5th invocation, but we're kind of pairing that like we did with the Blade ones for its leveled up version, which is Investment of the Chain Master. How about you talk about that?
Prerequisite, level 5 plus Warlock with the Pact of the Chain invocation. When you cast the Find Familiar spell, you infuse the Summon Familiar with a measure of your own Eldritch power, granting the creature with the following benefits. Aerial or aquatic, the familiar gains either a flying speed or a swimming speed of 40 feet. Quick attack. As a bonus action, you can command the familiar to take the attack action.
So it could do 2 attacks, and then your other 2 attacks if you have Thirsting Blade. Incredible, incredible.
And then, whenever the familiar deals bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, you can make it deal necrotic or radiant damage instead. And then, if a familiar forces a creature to make a saving throw, it uses your spell save DC. And finally, resistance. When the familiar takes damage, you can use your reaction to grant resistance against that damage.
So you kind of work in tandem now with your familiar.
And so much better than the original one. I
Yeah.
still think that most people are going to be packing up on those Pact of the Blade features.
Sure.
But this is now very playable
Yeah,
as well.
it's a very potent invocation. So that's been our top 5. We mashed a few together because they're thematically the same, and you probably want to go down the same route of them anyway,
Correct.
the same skill tree.
Yes.
But that has been it. So let us know what you think about these new invocations, these reworked invocations. Do you like them? We think they're pretty darn strong.
We're going to continue bringing you daily content on the D&D 2024 Player's Handbook, in addition to our regular content where we are playing D&D in full cosplay with the green screens. We've got it all. Please continue to Eldritch Smite, that like button.
Eldritch Smite.
And leave a comment down below. We love engaging with all of you, and please subscribe. We are also proud members of the FanRoll affiliate program. You can go to fanrolldice.com and type in the code GG10,
GG10
for an extra 10% off your order, which also gives a kickback to us so we can continue producing this content and leveling up.
And Eldritch Smiting everything.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.